Okay, so I talked about John Cassavetes, who's I guess my second favorite American filmmaker, and so now I'm going to talk about my third favorite American filmmaker, David Lynch. Ooh. These are my David Lynch Criterion films. And they all have the same little box. So the first one is what I think is his masterpiece, Eraserhead. And this is a movie that's full of symbolism. You know, it's a movie that you have to interpret. I actually watched a video essay that someone on YouTube made about this movie after I saw it for the first time, because it didn't really make sense to me. But so after seeing that, a lot of that guy's ideas, I'll put a little link to that guy's video. His ideas really, his interpretation really influenced me of how I see this film. And so this is David Lynch's first feature, and it took him 5 years to make, and it cost $10,000. The date is 1977, so I guess between 1972 and 1977, $10,000 varied in how much that was worth, but I think the actor Sissy Spacek put up some money for this. And yeah, this is the kind of movies I want to make, although not as horrific. Maybe that's not a good word for it. Just not as indignity with the horror genre that I feel like this movie kind of is in. So his next movie, this is the latest one I got, does that pick up? The Elephant Man. Come on. Is it in there? Can you see the cover artwork? Okay. The Elephant Man. And this is made in 1980. It's a little over 2 hours long. And Anthony Hopkins is in it. About a man named John Merrick who had some form of elephantitis in his face. So that then later on, 1986, made Blue Velvet. Which Blue Velvet reminds me a lot of Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is my favorite show. In case that didn't give it away, I actually have red light bulbs in here that I wanted to be able to pick up on more, but they're not picking up very well. But anyways, yeah, this is about a college boy played by Kyle MacLachlan who comes home from college and starts to fancy a character played by Laura Dern. And I think he witnesses like a murder or something. And so he tries to investigate it. And he goes into this woman's apartment, Isabella Rossellini, whose parents were Ingrid Bergman and Roberto Rossellini. Don't have any of their movies in the Criterion collection, but anyways. So yeah, he hides in the closet, and he sees that she's abused by what's the actor's name? Dennis Hopper. And it's like she's in some kind of little scenario where she owes somebody something. They have her children. And really, it's a cool movie. Nice and weird. I mean, I guess that's something you have to include with David Lynch's movies. But so I mentioned Twin Peaks. Well, I have the Twin Peaks movie Fire Walk with Me. And I'm a huge fan of Twin Peaks, and actually Laura is my favorite character in the series. She's so mysterious and so different from everybody else in the town. And Twin Peaks, I think I'm going to have to do a little series on Twin Peaks. But anyways, this is a prequel to the series when Laura is still alive. It's the events leading up to her death. And my cat is whining. Is it Blanche? I don't know. Pretty annoying. But anyways, out of Twin Peaks, the first episode of Twin Peaks is an hour and a half long because David Lynch didn't know if it was going to be a series, if it was going to be able to get made. So he made a feature-length film. He did the same thing with this little number, Mulholland Drive. So if you watch Mulholland Drive, and a lot of it doesn't really make sense. It's very vague, and you try to put it together, but still, it was meant to be. Oops, Jesus Christ! My cat is really annoying. I'll have to stick Blanche on her. But anyways, yeah, Mulholland Drive was supposed to be a mini-series, but never got made. So if you watch this and you think, well, there's a lot of big actors who have really small parts in this movie. I mean, why would they do that? Well, that's why they thought they were going to sign up to something bigger. I think I still have some time to talk about some more movies on this video. So, here are two Roman Polanski films, Rosemary's Baby and Tess. Rosemary's Baby, John Cassavetes stars in it alongside with Mia Farrow, and she's pregnant with the Antichrist. What all can I say about this movie? I mean, Jesus. It speaks for itself. I mean, everyone knows this movie, right? This movie, Tess, 15-year-old girl, in a relationship with Roman Polanski. They fled to France after he raped a 13-year-old girl, or maybe it was statutory rape, but whatever. still a no-no, but they moved to France, where dating a 15-year-old girl at the time was not as looked down upon. But I think feminism has made a lot of progress in France since then. So I've talked about, first features that filmmakers have made. Well, this one is Blood Simple by the Coen brothers, or Coen brothers. I've heard it pronounced both ways, Coen and Coen. So this is from 1984, and it's 95 minutes long, and who's the woman? Frances McDermott, I think her name is. Yeah, Frances McDermott. She stars in this, and what's really, really cool about this movie, it costed $1 million for them to make, and before they made it, they put together a trailer using like them and one of their girlfriends. They used to go door to door, showing people the trailer and asking them for money. And eventually they met a financier who introduced them to other financiers. But, I mean, the movie went to Cannes Film Festival, and it did really well. And, I mean, yeah, they've just been great ever since. Who else is in it? I think an actor from one of the Cassavetes films is this guy here. Can't remember. Oh well. So here's another first feature by a director from Oregon, or he's from Kentucky, Gus Van Sant. But this is set in Portland, Oregon, called Malanosh. 78 minutes long, 1985. Ultra low budget. Black and white. Obviously, black and white film is less expensive, but now this movie, he does use black and white very deliberately. It's a very beautiful film. I'm very impressed by it. Gus Van Sant went on to direct My Own Private Idaho. Don't have that movie. And I think he directed, what was the Gordon Wood, Wicked Smart, Good Will Hunting. I think he directed that though. Maybe he didn't. Got a lot of movies, folks. Where's the one I wanted to talk about? It's on the other side of the room. Raw footage for you guys. Let me see if I can find the movie. Okay. Sorry, I had it with the with the British films. Anyways, this movie, George Washington, it's called. This is a very black movie, but it was made by a white man named David Gordon Green. Barry Jenkins pointed out that he was surprised to find that it was made by a white guy because it's so black, frankly. But it's 90 minutes from 2000, and this guy David Gordon Green, I think he directed like Pineapple Express and some other comedy movies. I mean, he made this movie, and it's incredible. George Washington. It's about a developmentally delayed boy named George Washington, I think, and it's set in Virginia, where I live, but a poorer part of Virginia. And these kids, they're horsing around, whatever, roughhousing, whatever you want to call it. And one of the kids dies. I think smacks his head against some concrete and dies or whatever. And the kids have to deal with that. It's something I always kind of thought about when I was a kid, like from all the crazy stuff we did, how none of us died. But anyways, this movie was made for $40,000, I think it was. It's very inspirational. And it's also I think it's his first feature. That's why I wanted to bring it up now. More stuff here. Well, okay. Here is Richard Linklater's first feature called Slacker. Can you see that? Set in Austin, Texas, where he's from and where he went to film school. Oops. It's 100 minutes long from 1991 and shot on 16 millimeter. And there's a part in this movie where you can see the boom mic dip down. I've heard from Zach Amico, comedian and filmmaker, that digital transfers can sometimes lead to that. So when I first saw it, I was like, that's kind of a boo-boo. Why didn't you reshoot that? Well, maybe he didn't have to at the time. But Richard Linklater, he directed Boyhood and Dazed and Confused, and some other like fraternity movie, Waking Life. That's a cool movie. This wasn't Spike Lee's first movie, but it's certainly my favorite of his. Do the Right Thing. Always do the right thing. 1989, 120 minutes. They have new cover art for this, and I think it looks a lot better. It's really cool. God, but look at Spike Lee's face there. Can you see it? He just looks fed up with something. Really cool movie. Spike Lee teaches at NYU Film School, where he went to film school at NYU. Does this have his short films? Don't know. Anyways, yeah, I wanted to go there to NYU and be taught by him, but that reminds me, actually, back to Eraserhead. One thing that's really cool about this Criterion version is that there's a setup menu where you can adjust the screen to how David Lynch wants you to see the movie exposed as, and that's really cool. I wish more movies did that. But this also has student films that David Lynch made, and you know, some of them are really rudimentary. And Spike Lee did sort of the same thing when he was in film school. I mean, things like sort of like what Chantal Akerman did, but like in this one, he makes a painting and like takes photos, different stages of the painting, so you can sort of see it move. Oh, and there's one called The Grandmother, and that's really interesting. Nobody speaks in it. They only they bark like a barking sound. Well, I think that's it for this part. I still have a lot more American films to go through, but we'll break it up here.